and that was probably 10 or 11 at the time. And then from there, you know, they just didn't care anymore because they knew that my sister and I were old enough. We could take it.
I mean, so you were about the age that Edward Furlong was in the movie anyway, right? Wasn't he like 13 or so?
Yeah. That came out in 91, so I believe I was 11 years old. In Terminator 2 we're referring to. But yeah, that was probably the first big R-rated movie I can remember watching. I'd probably seen some more before that, but that was kind of like the one where it's now there's no turning back. You know, if you want to watch an R-rated movie, we'll take you.
That's a fantastic start, I'll tell you. Terminator 2 is so awesome, dude.
I was way into T2.
It's hard not to love that movie, even if you don't like sci-fi and shit like that. It's just that movie's universal. It's
a fantastic action movie. It's the type of movie I wish James Cameron still made. It's awesome. I think it's a great script. And the action is fantastic in it.
Even now, watching it now.
Yeah, even now, watching it now, like I'm surprised by how good the effects are, how clean and smooth the action is. Cameron always was a really great action director. I wish he would go back to making those movies instead of getting bogged down in the 4 Avatar movies no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, he's been under that for so long.
By the time those movies come out, no one's going to give a shit.
When did the first one come out? It came out with Inception, right? Around the same time?
I think it came out the end, like Christmas of 2009.
That sounds about right. And then think about all that Nolan has done since then. And what can we say for James Cameron?
Yeah, he got way into Avatar. I think he thought that people liked it a lot more than they actually did. And just went overboard on, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 movies. I'm going to be 50. I'm going to be 50 years old plus by the time that, at least when they were scheduled to come out, I'm going to be 50 years old, if not older. And that movie was out probably around my 30th birthday. That's how long it's going to be.
You really think, do you think they're not going to do well?
I think if he had made them, you know, like even 1 or 2 sequels, like right after that, they probably would have. But 20 years past, or 15 plus years past, no, they might do okay. They're not going to be the biggest movies in the world. I highly doubt it. Could be wrong, but I doubt it. What's left?
I think that about covers it. Unless you have anything else you want to go over.
I don't think so. Going back to its box office, I just want to point out that it's, even though it wasn't as big as the first movie, it was still the 3rd highest grossing movie of 1992.
Nothing
Aladdin.
to be ashamed about. Oh, Aladdin.
What's that?
Aladdin was number 1?
Aladdin was number 1, and then I think Home Alone 2 came out that Christmas, so that was a really big hit, bigger than Batman Returns.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, it was still the number 3 box office movie, even though it made a little under $200 million domestically, at least. which is so crazy because as we discussed, like now a movie can make $200 million in its opening weekend.
Yeah, it's funny how times change.
Yeah. A little under 30 years ago, that was the third highest grossing movie of the year, is just under 200 million. But that was like you said in the intro, that it got criticized for being too dark, too violent. A lot of parents were upset about it. Lost its McDonald's tie-in, which
is nuts that they got that scared. McDonald's was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, it's weird. And as we talked about, I don't think that it's any more violent than the first one. I think it's probably less violent.
I did see somebody online, an article saying that they think that Batman Returns could have easily been an R-rated movie. And I mean, like, maybe that would be plausible if they had continued with some of the more violent stuff. But there's only a couple things that I think that you could even say, oh, yeah, like, you know.
I think the rumor, and like early on, before the movie was released, is that it could be R-rated. That was the rumor, but the MPAA still gave it a PG-13.
Yeah, I think it gets close to there, but then the more they do so much wacky stuff, and maybe it's just the what are they called, the circus gang?
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of their stuff feels like more lighthearted, and you know, even like his penguins, like Duckmobile, and all these things, like bring it down to, okay, like kids could still watch this. Maybe a lot of this like adult humor and innuendos are going to go over their head, but it's still accessible, you know?
Yeah. It's maybe I mean, we're looking back in hindsight. Maybe in 1992 that was a super violent movie.
Yeah, a cutting edge, right?
Yeah.
As far as like, you know, especially because superhero movies like that were kind of a new thing at the time as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there hadn't been a whole lot of superhero movies before that. I mean, before Batman came out, I mean, the major one before that was Superman. And then that was it. These were pretty rare. And nowadays, I mean, they shit out 6 or 7, 8 of them, a dozen of them a year, however many.
This 2020 was the first year where technically no Marvel movies came out, right?
Yeah, because of the pandemic, they were scheduled to have 2 or 3 of them come out. And that didn't happen. So it'll be interesting to see how far along a lot of these are, and I'm wondering if we're going to have a year where there's like going to be 10 Marvel movies that come out because they're trying to make up for lost time. Each one is going to be more asinine than the next. That's all I got on Batman Returns. I think it's really underrated. I know that in the years since it's come out, it's kind of gotten a cult following. I did mention that it was better reviewed. A lot of people, Burton included, like it a lot better than the original.
Yeah, I mean, it's sitting high at an 80% even on Rotten, and you know how Rotten is.
Yeah. Do you know what the first one is rated? Just out of curiosity?
I can look it up right now.
I'm just wondering, because I know that the first one didn't get stellar reviews. I think the first one was viewed more as an event film.
Mm-hmm. It's 71.
Oh, so Batman Returns is higher rated
than the original, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be the consensus among a lot of people, is that, you know, Batman is pretty good, but Batman Returns is even better. And I think it's better because it's weirder. It's more of a Tim Burton movie.
Definitely have to agree with you, man.
And much love to Kim Basinger, but Michelle Pfeiffer fucking blows her right out of the water. In terms of the Batman movies, at least.
Well, she's also given a lot more to do, and she's not the damsel in distress, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she doesn't spend the entire movie screaming like Kim Basinger does. But as much as I love the original Batman, I do think that Batman Returns is better. And it's more fun. And it's like I said, it's weirder. And that's part of why I like it so much.
Yeah, it's just like they don't give a shit.
Yeah, it fits right up there with Tim Burton's like kind of misfit protagonists. But he has a really strong run where he makes Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he makes Beetlejuice, he makes Batman, he makes Edward Scissorhands, he makes Batman Returns, he makes Ed Wood, which I think personally is probably his best movie, and he makes Mars Attacks, and then he makes Sleepy Hollow, and that's a really fucking solid run of just really good, offbeat, gothic movies. And then I think it's downhill.
What did he do after Sleepy Hollow? What was his follow up?
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that's right. With miscast Wahlberg.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes is really bad.
Although I will say I love the art direction of that film, like the
art direction and the makeup is awesome. I won't knock it. But the actual movie is really bad. And I'm not even a huge fan of the original.
Oh yeah, man. They're pretty boring. I'm sorry for anybody out there who are big fans, but oh man, they're pretty painful.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at how little I cared for the original. Even though the twist was always great. But, seeing it 30 years after the fact, 40 years after the fact, the twist was constantly spoiled in pop culture. So it didn't really hit home as much. Rod Serling wrote the screenplay for that, though, and Rod Serling is a god. I think we know what I'll wreck next week, seeing as how it'll be New Year's. I appreciate you having me on. As always, the Christmas show is one I always have a lot of fun doing, and I like presenting kind of weirder, offbeat, different Christmas movies, and you give us a chance to talk about that and to showcase those, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. Thank you for just taking the time out of your day. I know, of course, a lot of us aren't working right now, but I mean, even pre-COVID, you still did, took your time to do some episodes with me. So I always appreciate it. It's always a fun time, getting to chat with you a little bit.
Yeah, man. As always, I appreciate it, and I like doing the show with you. And I always bring the research. So any time that I have a chance to do that, we will.
Definitely. Any final words? Any shout outs?
This is going to be my main thing for a while, but I mean, please, when the time comes, please support movie theaters. They really need it, especially now. And I think we're going to have a pretty serious discussion about that next week. Yeah,
that'll be something. It'll be great to hear. In depth, your thoughts on it for sure.
Well, like I said before, I have my career because of the movie theaters. It's given me so much, and I love movies so much, and I love the movie theater experience, even though I hate the audience experience. But seeing a movie on the big screen means so much to me, and the movie theaters have always meant a lot to me, so I'm very passionate about it, and